All right, good evening, everybody. This is a meeting of the Pembroke Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Frederick Castman. I'm the chairman. All the other board members identify themselves.
Hi, I'm Chris McGrail, Vice President or Vice Chair, not President, Pembroke Zoning Board of Appeals. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Louis Carpenter, just the clerk.
And Attorney Amy Questless here from Town Council. I just got to read this before we start. Please note that this meeting is being made available to the public through an audio recording, which will be used to ensure an accurate record of proceedings produced in the minutes of the meeting. All comments made in open session will be recorded. PAC TV is providing this service live on Comcast / Xfinity Government Access Channel 9. Those without cable, visit YouTube Live for live streaming. Excuse me. Okay, so we are going to call this meeting to order. This is the continued matter of case 6-24, the comprehensive permit application, Deanie Harrison, 52 Plain Street, the Plain Street Estates. All right, and we will, we're going to hear from our engineers who did peer review. We're then going to hear from the applicants, and then we'll have some public comment towards the end. If you're going to speak, just need to come up to that microphone. Just say your name and address, but you got to speak into the microphone, otherwise the recording will pick it up, okay? So I think we're going to start with Deb from Merrill. Could you just and you got to go up to the microphone and just, Deb's our peer review, so she's going to go over the review she did with the plans and application.
Sure.
Thank you.
So, good evening, Deb Keller with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors, and here with me is Kirsten Braun from Chapel Engineering, who did the traffic component of the review for us. I'll start off with the site civil. So, we recently received revised documentations plans referencing January 6th, which included many of our comments addressed. And just to go over, I'm just going to highlight sort of the outstanding comments that I still had, and I know I sent this letter out today, so haven't really gotten to look at everything. But the first comment was with respect to the existing dwelling structure that's being retained, and I know it's kind of going back and forth as to how to incorporate that into the project. My understanding is it's going to be incorporated. So we're just looking for some clarification. There's if it's included, note 7 on the cover should include that unit as part of the unit count. I wasn't 100% sure whether or not you needed to have confirmation from Mass Housing that structure gets included. I think that's probably something you guys can sort out. And then the only other question I thought the board might like answered is whether that would be continue being a rental unit as well, just to confirm how that dwelling would be utilized in the project. Some of the plan clarifications that I believe could be addressed either through minor revisions to the plans or condition would be to identify a path, an access path. It doesn't have to be gravel, but just opening up the fence between the existing dwelling, if it's going to be part of the project, so that it can utilize the open space, as well as trying to designate an area, a walking path to that open space that doesn't go through the drainage swale. So I think the fence could get adjusted slightly and that path could be provided. Looks like there's just some cleanup between the landscape plan and the site plan with respect to snow storage and tree locations. So just a clarification of whether those trees are going to stay in that location or get shifted so that they're not impacted by the snow storage. Just for clarification, it was noted that no EV charging stations are proposed at this time. That might be something that the state may come back with a comment with, but there's plenty of parking there, so, and sidewalks, so spaces that if charging stations were needed, the pedestals could be installed. The one other thing that we talked about was adding a central mail drop or kiosk or package delivery loading area. The mail kiosk was shown adjacent to the entry drive, which would result in people having to swing by there and stop in the middle of the traffic aisle for the parking. If an Amazon truck parks there and you've got someone in a parking space that needs to back out, there might be a conflict. A recommendation might be to take one of the extra parking spaces and designate that as a loading, and we could put the mail kiosk next to it. That way, people don't have to cross through the parking lot from the buildings if they're going to get their mail. They can walk down the sidewalk and access the kiosk as well. I was looking for verification that the truck turning movement information provided in the recent package had been reviewed with the fire department. I believe the applicant can verify that for us. And just making sure that the directions that the truck turning was analyzed was appropriate for the fire department and how they would enter the site. I would recommend that the limit of work on the erosion control plan be adjusted and include the existing dwelling, so that if there's any repairs that need to be happened, that's included in the limit of work, as well as the gravel parking area associated with the existing dwelling. Looks like the erosion control goes right through that area, so if we just pull it out a little bit farther, I think that would help. If possible, the 4-foot sidewalk was a little difficult to find. I did finally find it. Headed down to the bus stop. I don't know if hatching it might be helpful, just so we can see that access path. And one other thing that I noted is that we're losing a little bit of a bump out in the aisle to put that sidewalk in. Recommend extending a curb all the way along so that we have a little bit of vertical separation and protection for the walkway from that access aisle, and confirming that those couple of end parking spaces, the aisle's 25 feet wide, so I think you would be able to make that maneuver, but just wanted to double check. And then one of the comments that I think Kirsten will go through this in a little bit more detail, but we're hoping to get some response or comments as to how some of the traffic recommendations in the traffic study for the project would be implemented. But I'll let Kirsten go through some of that. Let's see. I think there were some, we just confirming that the project will go through Board of Health, so the septic systems for both the apartment buildings as well as the existing dwelling, the upgrade, will need to be reviewed and approved through Board of Health under the Title V regulations. It was noted that some architectural plans would be updated, but I didn't see any, so I was just trying to confirm that they were resubmitted for the board. And then looking for just a tad more information with respect to the utilities coming to the buildings. There's only one water service shown on the plan. I would anticipate with these larger structures that they would need a dedicated fire service. So just a clarification on how that will be addressed for the site, and then confirmation or clarification whether or not propane would be supplied to the development. Flipping through to see. Most comments were addressed. So just a couple of minor things on the grading was I was looking for just so that we have confirmation on the overflow from the small basin that's near Plain Street, that we have an existing shot there so that we know which way it's going to actually flow and make sure that it's flowing in the intended way that was proposed. And then with respect to the larger basin, we do have the fence along the backside of the buildings. It does look like access could potentially come in between the buildings along the sidewalks. So maybe identify that there will be gates there or openings in that fence so that we can have vehicle access to, that's the closest access that I could see to the sediment forebays, which is where the most of the maintenance would be needed. And almost done. Lastly, it would be just coordinating a more detailed waiver list when we're ready to get to that stage. So most of my comments are more cleanup work, and I'm going to let Kirsten pick up the traffic from here.
Okay, thanks, Deb.
Just for the record, my name's Kirsten Braun. We're the traffic peer reviewer with Chapel Engineering. So I've submitted a secondary review letter, but I'll jump back to the initial review just to talk about some of our larger outstanding comments. What we do when we peer review traffic studies is we generally look to make sure that the traffic engineer followed standard traffic engineering practice, as well as state guidelines, Mass DOT based guidelines. So we generally agreed with the study. 20 units isn't a substantial traffic generator, but there were a few things that we flagged within the study that we requested either additional information or further clarification. One of which was, we noted in the study that the crash data showed that the intersection, and Deb started to mention this, that the intersection of Plain Street and Lake Street has experienced 17 crashes over the 5-year period, which is higher than standard, than which is higher than statewide and district-wide averages, which shows that there's a safety concern out there. Most of the crashes were angle-type collisions, so the applicant did list a bunch of improvements that they would recommend out there. Just to run through some of their suggestions was to replace and relocate the stop signs and stop lines on Lake Street approaches. Also to reduce the corner radii. It's a wide open intersection, so the corner radii are massive, so that would really help to reduce speeds, I'm sure, turning onto the adjacent streets. Also to install stop ahead warning signs or intersection ahead to help people that are traveling down Lake Street or Plain Street either know that they have a stop or that there's an intersection ahead. We did agree with all those recommendations based on the crash data they supplied, but we're unsure which ones are going to be implemented as part of the project. So we do recommend that information be included. We also noted that the trip generation estimates in the study were slightly less than standard traffic engineering practice. There's 2 different ways to estimate trips, and there's a handbook to tell us which way to use. And the way they used resulted in slightly fewer trips, so we asked the applicant to reanalyze with it's called a fitted curve equation, which they did. So they updated their trip generation estimates and then reanalyzed the study area intersections and found generally the same conclusions, that there weren't massive traffic impacts associated with this development. We continue to recommend that all landscaping signs, fences, anything in the vicinity of the site driveways within the site triangles be either set outside of the site triangle or less than 2 feet in height, including any sort of landscaping. that's going to be in the vicinity of site driveways, and what that helps is to make sure that vehicles exiting the driveway can safely see approaching vehicles, or if they ended up in the street, that the approaching vehicle would be able to stop. So most of our traffic impact assessment comments were addressed. We did have a few site plan comments that I just saw the updated site plans today. So I believe most of them have been addressed, but one of the largest ones was, they show a swept path analysis for a fire truck. One of the movements shows, you know, a little bit of encroachment into the parking spaces. So if we could just refine the turning movements to make sure that they're not impeding on any of the parking areas, because presumably those parking spaces will be occupied. And additionally, as was mentioned earlier, we noted what the quickest path would be from the fire department to the site, so just confirm that the turning movements shown are the path that the fire department is going to take. And then also just to coordinate with the fire department too, to make sure that the proper size fire truck was used and that they have adequate accessibility to all sides of each building. But that's just a quick summary of the original traffic study. Like I said, our second review showed that most of the traffic impact assessment comments have been addressed. Just the larger items, fire truck access to the buildings, and then any improvements that are going to be included at the intersection of Lake Street and Plain Street.
Thanks, Kristen. Appreciate it. All right, and Mr. Webby, do you want to address or someone from you?
Mr. Harrison.
Yeah, Mr. Harrison, go ahead. You can address the comments.
Sure, thank you, I appreciate it.
Just identify yourself for the.
Yes, Dean Harrison, 59 Lockwood Ave, Attleboro, Mass. I'm the consultant for the developer. I do have, I was just going to do a quick update, and then we can address most of the issues. I want to thank the consultants. They did a wonderful job. They worked with us to go back and forth to try to get this down as small as possible. I think we've done a good job at that, and I think we can address some of the items going forward. I just want to bring up the plan so we can all. Okay, just quickly, this is an area of the site. As you can see, this is Plain Street, Lake Street. This is the existing building on the site that has rental units now. This is an existing building which is coming down. The property, and don't quote me on this, is basically go back like this and across here. Once again, this is the site plan. This is Plain Street, excuse me, existing conditions. This is Plain Street here, Lake Street, the existing rental building here, the other building that is coming down, and you can see this is more of a, really like a rectangle, and most of our frontage is on Lake Street. We did have some updated renderings, so I'd like to show a few here. We have, these are the new buildings as we, come into the parking lot. We did add some different colors, add some additional exterior features, kind of tying into the lighting plan that we submitted. We have lighting on the front of the building, all dark sky compliant lighting. I'm sorry, let me go back. Here's another view. Very traditional. As I said, the lighting over the front door area. We do have full architectural sets. I won't go into those today or right now, but we do have them, and they were submitted, and we'll make sure that the consultants receive them and everything.
Can I ask a question on this?
Yeah, Mr. Harrison, this council has a question.
Sure.
Go back to the renderings,
The which one?
the renderings.
Okay.
That you just had,
Yep.
if you don't mind.
Yep. Being the first time I've done this like this.
There you
so-
go, that one. So could you explain the difference between the purple door with 2 windows to the right and the purple door with 1 window to the right? Is that a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom? Is that the difference?
That's building 1, so those are 2 entries leading to a single vestibule that splits off into 2 single units.
You might pull up the architecturals, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, they're coming up in a second. Very large file.
I'll go to the next page.
Okay. That one? Oop. Is that a good one to show, or do you
That's
know?
building 1, so you can see the 2 doors leading into a single unit. You can see the front doors on the top, 2 doors leading into a vestibule with a central stair that leads up to the 2nd floor for the 2 units above. These are 4 single units side by side, so it looks like it has a singular entrance for each unit, but it really is just going into a single vestibule that then splits off into 2 entry doors for the first floor, and then a stair that goes up in the center to the 2nd floor to the 2 units above.
Can you go, I still don't get it. Can you go back to, so,
Is there just an extra door for aesthetic?
yeah. Because you have, so, for example, on that picture next to you,
Correct.
okay? Aren't there 6 doors? Aren't there 6 purple doors?
Correct.
And you have 6 units, right?
Correct.
Okay, so,
So what you have is, this is the parking lot side here. So you have an entry
Okay.
door here and an entry door here. They're redundant. It's just an aesthetic element to let the buildings feel as though they're singular entrances. That leads to a central vestibule where the entry door to this unit is here, and then it's another entry unit to this unit here. The stair goes up.
so going back to that, each different color paint is a unit, is,
Essentially, yes.
Okay. So,
So each one of that's a unit, that's a unit.
so are there 3 units on the bottom and 3 units on the top?
In building 1, there are 4 units. I'm sorry, 6 units, 2, 4, 6, and then 2, 4.
Right, so 3 on the bottom, 3 on the
Correct.
top. And then are the sizes of the units different,
No, they're all exactly the same.
even though some are 1 bedrooms and some are 2 bedrooms?
So there's only 1 bedrooms in this building.
Okay.
In building 2, there's 3 2-bedrooms on the first floor, 3 2-bedrooms on the 2nd floor.
So why
those are-
my other question is, building 1 has 6 1-bedroom units, and building 2 has 6
No.
2-bedroom units, right? And then building 3 has 2 3-bedroom units and 4 1-bedroom units. But they're all approximately the same size.
That's correct. And I'm sorry, that may be wrong on the civil
Oh.
drawings. The building 1 has 8.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's 8. I said 6.
Okay.
I can't, my eyes aren't that great.
That's okay.
So, okay, I'll put it easier. Are all the 1-bedroom units the same size?
Exact same
Are all the
size.
2-bedroom units the same size?
Exact
And all the
same
3
size.
bedrooms are the same size?
Correct.
Great.
And building 3, so you know, has 2 3-bedrooms and 4 single bedrooms, and all the single bedrooms are the exact same
Okay.
as in the other building.
And then how many units are in the existing house?
1.
How many are going to be in the existing house?
1.
Okay. And it's it's gonna remain a 5-bedroom?
Yes.
And will that be affordable?
Yes.
And that will be restricted affordable?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You got it.
That was it.
I'm sorry, I'm Jay Bradley.
Oh, thank you.
That was all I had.
Stealing my thunder.
Yeah, please continue, Mr.
All right,
Harris.
we'll jump right to that then, okay. Yes, after the last meeting, it was asked of us to figure out the best way to address the existing building. We had reached out to our attorney talked to town council, and we have decided to include that building now as part of the overall plan, so there's no subdivisions required. There is no additional, it will all be basically located on one lot now. It will remain affordable, so you will now have 6 affordables and 21 total units. My past experience working with both the Executive Office of Housing and Living Communities through the LIP application and Mass Housing. This actually went through the LIP application, and they do not require us to go back to them and get their permission, because once you submit a comprehensive permit application, the project eligibility letter becomes, you satisfied the site eligibility letter by submitting a comprehensive permit. I can get an email from them if you so desire for the record.
Yes.
Yeah,
But,
you can tell
okay,
that, yeah.
not a problem.
So in this letter from your attorney, it says that, based on our past experience, this proposed change will not require a revised project eligibility letter from the
Correct.
OHLC. So can you get that confirmed in writing and also confirmed that we do not have to have the select board re-sign the LIP application?
Sure.
Thank you.
I think part of the questions that were relating to the size of the units, all the units will be, from the exterior, will be similar. Obviously, you can't tell an affordable unit from the inside or the outside. Right now, we're not projecting any changes to the affordable units or the market units inside the units. There might be some changes in material at some point, but it would only be just to, obviously, we would provide some in the market rate units also. So if we went, say, instead of, we do a 4-inch cove base, we go down to a 3-inch cove base, we would do it in at least one of the market units if that's what we have in the affordable units. So they will stay affordable in perpetuity, as you probably all know, and they will count towards your total SHIs. So now you have 21 total to count for this. To address some of the items in the peer reviews, we will address all these items prior to the next meeting. There really doesn't appear to be anything here that we see that we cannot do within the next meeting. We are trying to have another meeting with the fire chief to get his sign off on the plans and the turnarounds and all the items that he will require. As you know, we will go back to the board. We will go to the Board of Health because they do approve the septic systems, and we will meet all the state requirements for that. On the traffic, we will confirm which ones of the recommended suggestions. We are just going through this. I think now that we are kind of narrowing down to what various options are, that we can make the decisions of what to be able to do and what not to be able to. We will provide an updated waiver request. I think we're meeting most of the items. I think some of, obviously, like, rental in a single-family zone, we'll have to ask for that. But we're meeting most of the setbacks, parking requirements, obviously, and some of those, the typical zoning type setbacks and so forth, lot coverage. I can go through, we have pretty much everything here that we submitted to the town over the last 6 months. So I hope that we can continue to make progress, and we'll address these items with the consultants and anything else that comes up tonight. I have all the exhibits here if you want to see one of the exhibits.
Okay. Gentlemen, have any questions?
I just have a general question. As far as like curbing in front of the units, this is a 5-foot concrete walkway. Is that like a Cape Cod berm to the concrete walkway? Or I'm just thinking like if somebody were to pull in day like yesterday, you know, over the weekend or whatever, didn't get treated, somebody car goes plowing through a unit. Are those, the curbing going to be high enough to stop a vehicle? And obviously if a car's going, it's going to go. But like, you know, just something like, you know, slow. Okay. The rendering on the picture was kind of confusing.
I'm going to bring up the engineering drawings just because it seems we might have more comments about that. We did submit a landscaping plan along with the landscaping catalog. I understand the consultant had a couple of questions about clarifying there's no, between the landscaping plan and the engineering plans. We will look at that. Here's the complete engineering set that has been submitted as of January 6th. So I'll leave it up to you.
Okay, Mr. Harrison.
Or any
thank you.
questions?
Amy, do you have anything else?
I'm okay right now, thank
No.
you. Yep, I'm good.
Deborah, Kirsten, any? No? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Harrison. So we address the house.
Yep, I got, yep,
Okay.
wait, let me see. How many units, the affordable, yep, that's up.
All right, so we can just open up to the public. All right, we're gonna open this up for public comment. If you want to speak, again, just come up to the microphone. Just raise your hand, we'll just kind of direct you guys up there orderly. Just your name, your address, and then you can make your comment, or if you have a question, everything will have to come through me for a question, and then we can put it on the applicant. So if anyone wants to come up, just come on up.
Hi, Brian Golden, 20 Lake Street.
Hey, Brian.
Quick question, has this already been approved by the town, or is the town committed to going forward with this? Or is this really a question between, do we approve it or do we go 40B?
The application is a 40B application. We're gonna make the decision. It hasn't been approved yet,
Okay.
no.
And, because I just wonder what the outcome would be if you just said, hey, take it to the state and go 40B. I can't imagine you could get any more than 21 units on there either way.
Well, it is 40B.
It is a 40B.
Yeah, it's a
They are
40B.
applying under 40B.
But do they have to review it, the state, or is it really, if the town approves it, then they don't have to do it? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with exactly how it
Amy,
works.
I'll let Amy just give you a
Sure.
quick rundown.
So, in our experience, that if this is denied at the local level, then the Housing Appeals Committee will make the decision, and they will delete approximately 3/4 of the conditions that we would normally put on the project. So you would get a much worse project.
Yeah. Well, and I just wonder, what's the precedent for the town, you know?
The town is not at 10% affordability, and so because the town is not at 10% affordability, the town is subject to 40Bs.
How close are we to that 10%?
Very, very close,
Very close?
yes. In the 9s.
Okay.
It fluctuates.
Might be worth reviewing again. And don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against anybody commercializing whatever they want to commercialize, I just think it's a really bad precedent for the town. Anybody with a 1 acre lot can decide they're gonna apply for a 40B and put up 20 units on the bylaw in the town is one dwelling on a 1 acre lot. I just think it's bad precedent if the town acquiesces to these things without at least fighting it at some level.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Steve Tershman from Tanfield Walk. Are the waivers that they're asking for, is that something that you would consider, or is that something that you had option to say no to? Setback waivers?
Well, I mean,
We haven't seen the setbacks on the plans as far as setbacks from Lake Street.
well,
Does it get the 40 feet and all that? Is everything?
they're gonna
all
give, so they're gonna submit a list of waivers, and under 40B, they can request.
So you don't
these
have to
waivers.
accept the waivers? You don't have to, you could deny all of them, is that correct?
I mean, we could deny the project.
No, just the waivers. Why wouldn't you deny the project, is what I'm asking.
I'm sorry, why wouldn't we deny it?
Yeah, if it doesn't meet the setbacks.
Well, because there's waivers through 40B that allows these types of projects to go into smaller lots.
So it's because it's 40B?
Yes, yeah, oh, yes.
Okay. So on the house, at the last meeting, I think the attorney said you cannot have that house along with the 3 other dwellings. Is that correct?
Correct. At the last meeting, their proposal was for 20 units, and they were just pretending like the house didn't exist. So my opinion was that they could either separate that lot, that house, separate it out onto its own lot, or incorporate it into the 40B. So they chose to incorporate it in to the 40B. So now it's a 21-unit 40B, because that house is now considered part of it. So all of the engineering has to include that house now.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Yep, yeah, same thing.
How you doing? My name is Jim Canone. I'm on 8 Standish Street, the next big intersection north. I was just wondering how many parking spaces there's going to be total?
I don't have it right in front of me. Do you want to? Yes.
Right now, we're proposing 30 parking spaces. There has been a suggestion to reduce one to add a loading area, excuse me.
All right. So I just had a comment about the traffic pattern here. I don't know if you guys know this intersection or the bus lot. All this traffic in the mornings is horrendous going up Lake Street to the high school, the Hobmock area. And Standish comes in from the right, and it's just a total gridlock in the morning. And then in the afternoon, you also get the buses coming back to pick up all the other kids. And also, like Forest, the next street parallel to the lake here, they're not letting trucks, commercial vehicles are not allowed up Forest Street. So everything has to come down Standish and go up Lake, and they're trying to get to the center of town, which has become a nightmare also. I don't know if you guys ever go through the center of town anytime after 3 o'clock. It's pretty much becoming like Route 53, which is sort of like similar to Route 18 in Weymouth, used to be, a total nightmare. So you might want to just look at the traffic patterns again, and I don't think a couple, stop ahead signs and new stop signs going to solve that little issue there. And adding 30 vehicles is not going to help it at all. So that's all my comments. Thanks.
All right, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Did anyone else? Yep, just come up to the microphone, just your name and address.
Hi, I'm Linda Connors. I live at 172 Lake, which is between the corner store and 27,
Okay.
right directly across from the
Yep.
bus lot.
No, we are.
Those buses stop in front of my house, and they're dead stopped. You can't get in and out of your driveway. There is already a stop ahead sign in my front yard. So that is already existing there, and it doesn't seem to make a darn bit of difference. The buses are gonna be stopped, and then you're gonna add another stop at the entrance to this property. which is gonna back the buses up even more, because obviously some children will be living there. Have we considered making, the other comment I had is making that a four-way stop at Lake Street and Plain Street instead of just the two-way stop it is now?
Okay, appreciate that. I'm sorry, when you say the buses, is that when the buses are coming out of the lot?
At 7:10 in the morning
Go
and
to
2:10 in the
Okay,
afternoon.
that's what I thought.
Was that traffic study done while the buses were picking up and dropping off and cutting, oh, sorry.
Yeah, you just gotta talk about it.
Was that traffic study done during the time at 7:10 and 2:10 when those buses are parked and can't move to get across that intersection?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it was,
Kirsten, can you, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
can you just, I know it's a pain with the microphone.
yes, the traffic study was done, so they look at peak periods, so they did 7 to 9 a.m. in the morning and 2 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon. So that would have encompassed the times with the buses.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Eileen Hutchinson from Plain Street.
Okay.
I have a question, and it's really where the town stands on 40B, on affordable housing. There is a project, I believe it's on Water Street, that the town has been going back and forth on. And in April, I read a report or from the housing appeals, and it said that that project had to be permitted, that the Mass Housing said, the Mass Court of Appeals said, issue the permits and let the project go. Is that correct? That Water Street is moving forward?
I'll let, council, I'm not sure the status of,
Sure, so the status of that was that the zoning board denied the project. It was appealed to the Housing Appeals Committee, and there was a full hearing, and the Housing Appeals Committee ruled in favor of the developer and ordered the board to issue the permit with many conditions deleted that the board would normally have put on. And then that has been further appealed by abutters to Superior Court. But yes, the state ordered the board to issue the permit.
So my question on that project is if in fact, and I don't know how long it will take before it gets resolved, if that project actually goes through, where will we be as far as our affordable housing? And if permits are issued for that, will we have to entertain any more 40B projects? Could this one, if that goes forward, does this one have to?
So the subsidized housing inventory is measured from the time the application is filed. So when this application was filed, the town was below 10%.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, Dan Lindahl, 127 Lake Street. I was just wondering, you mentioned like there was another meeting after this. Can you go through the process, like what's after this meeting? Like what's the next steps?
Yeah, the initial meeting, we usually kind of do this, but I can let Amy just kind of walk you through. So this isn't the last meeting, just so you know, there's going to be other meetings, more review done. But I can let just Amy give you a quick rundown on how
thank you.
it proceeds and gets ultimately to a decision.
Okay.
Sure, so we had the first meeting, and then issues were presented, and then we sent it out for peer review. Peer review has been done. Both engineering and traffic peer review has been done. They received the peer review comments. They will then address the peer review comments, whether it be by project narrative or by plan changes. And right now, the most important thing that we need from them is a comprehensive list of the waivers. Once we get a comprehensive list of the waivers, probably at the next meeting we could go through the waivers to determine whether the waivers are actually needed or not. We would, rely on peer review to also, make sure that the waivers are appropriate, things like that.
Right. And would that be the last meeting then?
It all depends, because sometimes, sometimes when we go through these waivers, they have to then go back and make more plan changes or something like that. So I can't say exactly.
Okay. So, all right, thank you.
Jackie O'Niven, 52 Plain Street. Hi, Josh. I currently live there. Sorry, super emotional. Josh and Angela are my landlords. They're wonderful people. I know everybody's probably going to be really pissed at me for saying this, but they are really wonderful landlords. What they're trying to do is help people like me who lives in affordable housing. I know you guys are like super pissed that it's a lot. I was a homeless veteran with 4 kids, and they helped me and they gave me a place for me and my kids to live. And I know they're not trying to take that away from me. I'm glad that they incorporated my family into this. And I know, like, from what I just want to ask is, so that everybody in the room understands this 40B project, regardless of whether you deny it with the waivers and the things that you put on it. If you deny it and they go to the state is going to push it through because the state needs the housing, correct? Regardless of whether or not you guys approve or deny, they can go to the state and have it approved. You guys can put certain stipulations on them and approve it. So I just want everybody in the room to be able to understand if they go to the state, it's going to get approved, no matter what, right? With less stipulations than what you guys are putting on them. Is that the understanding? Like, I just want to make sure it all makes sense in my brain and everybody else's.
We could never say that it's automatically going to be approved by the state, but it's a highly likely.
So percentage-wise, 95%, it's probably going to get pushed through. More than likely, yes. Probably. Okay. So we should all just come together as a community. Maybe put some suggestions together for what you don't like about it. Talk to them. They're human. They're super understanding. They'll work with you if you don't like what is happening. Just give them some ideas. I don't like the fact that I'm probably going to have to lose my chickens. But they said they're willing to work with me to help me find a place to put them. And again, they gave me a home for me and my kids. So I just wanted everybody to know that, like, at first I was really uncertain of what was going to happen with the house. So I'm glad I came tonight to find out what was going to happen. And I'm glad that I was reassured that I'm still going to be there. So thank you for that. That's all I really have to say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for trying to
Appreciate
help.
it.
I have one other quick one. As it relates to the traffic study, you had mentioned it was a high accident zone. Does that have any factor here, given that it's higher than normal, I guess?
I'll let Kristen do that best you can. Oh, there you go.
Thank you. I think that's left up to the board, but certainly we highlighted it as a high crash location. Again, the trip generation associated with a site like this isn't going to be substantial, but as good neighbors, I'm sure they want to, propose some improvements. I know the crash data is available for that intersection too, to kind of maybe their traffic engineer could take a little deeper dive into crash trends. I know most of them are angle crashes. So that I think that there's plenty of improvements that could be made to improve safety, not just for their residents, but for everybody that lives in the area. So I'm not sure if that's, a suggestion maybe for the applicant's traffic engineer to take a little deeper dive, but there were suggestions within the traffic study that we agreed with that would certainly help. Like I said, it's a wide open intersection the way it is today. There was a couple of recommendations to reduce the curb radii to sort of shrink up the intersection, but still accommodate turning movements such as buses, the school buses that go through there. But there's certainly improvements that can be made that will, help in the future with safety at that location.
Yeah, and I would encourage the town, is there anything you can look into relative to that traffic study in high impact area that would be preventative of putting in a multi-unit building, right? I'm sure others have encountered this. Is there any precedent for what happens when you have a high traffic area and then you add density to it?
Well, we hire the professionals to, so they're gonna work with their engineers. There's been comments today, things that you just said, that we're gonna have them address. So we gotta let them have an opportunity to see if there are some things that they can do from a traffic sense.
Yeah, frankly, anybody who lives in town knows that that's overdue for a four-way stop.
Yeah, I know,
It has been
I know the spot, yeah,
forever.
I go through there a lot, so.
Yeah, and, honestly, I'm saying, hey, is there a way for a town to try to, in some ways, prevent this, right? I'll be clear, I'm not for multi-density unit in my neighborhood, as most people aren't. And again, I don't have any problem with them building whatever they want. They want to build a nice, single-family home there, great. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the 40B, and I just want to be clear, I'm looking for any avenue to try to prevent it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Kirsten, are they town roads, both of them?
Yes.
So if it was to be converted to a four-way stop, would the town do that, or would that still have to go through the state?
The town could certainly do it. There are actually, there's a traffic study, a warrant analysis you have to do to convert an intersection into an all-way stop. So I know that there's traffic data already, so that's something that the applicant's traffic engineer can certainly look into to see if it's warranted at that location based on the traffic volumes.
But we're getting comments that it's too congested, and then comments that it should be a four-way stop. Do those contradict each other?
There would have to be traffic analysis
Okay.
to see what happens to the traffic at that location if it were to be an all-way stop. Ultimately, we could do the studies, but it is up to the town to decide if they wanted to implement an all-way stop. But I would recommend to do some analysis there first before making that decision.
Okay, thank you.
My name's Dan Smith. I live at 110 Plain Street.
All right, Dan.
I just have a couple concerns about you said this is 21 units, right?
Correct, they're proposing.
How many
21
bedrooms are the total?
There's 5, 8, 13, plus 12, plus 6, plus 4, so that's 10. Okay, 35 maybe? Math is not my
So I
specialty.
have 35, is that including the house as well?
Well, Mr. Harrison, do you know how many units?
I was gonna look at.
I mean, I can just add 'em up.
Stormwater plan, see if it's set.
Oh, I think we got them right here. How many? 31, so 31.
No, but the 5, did you do the 5?
8 bedroom.
No, the 5 bedrooms in the existing house,
Oh, sorry, I didn't do
yeah.
that. 31 plus 5.
So 36.
So you have 36
35.
bedrooms and 30 parking spaces. And
So
I'm
I'm
just
right.
curious how it's gonna have to be a massive septic system for 35, 6 bedrooms? Is there room there for that?
They're gonna have to go in front of the health department and to make sure that they can comply with, the septic requirements. That's not something we'd decide.
Because I assume that's based on the square footage of or the amount of bedrooms. Generally, it was. The other question is too, with the square footage of the buildings total, is that all gonna be sprinkler system as well? It's gotta be up there in that amount.
They're all over 4 units. So yes, they will be. The 20 units, the three new
Yeah.
buildings will be. The existing building does not have to be. That's just gonna be 1 unit.
It's just kind of a concern that that many bedrooms, and there's gonna be that many cars at some point, so it really doesn't even fit. And I assume the parking lot's gonna be the septic system too, because it's gotta be a very big septic system.
Yeah, I would imagine it is. You want to address some of these for?
Dean Harrison again. Our septic has to be approved by the state. It's through your Board of Health. Right now, the consultant has reviewed our engineering drawings. There are a few comments that we need to address. However, I won't put word into her mouth, but from her report, it can be done. We still have to go through the Board of Health, and they will confirm that we are able to, with the septic system designed today, we'll be able to hold, conform to all the state requirements. There's nothing different than any other builder that have to do the same thing. Not because of 40B. 40B does not get around state regs at all. So here, yes, we have to do a septic system approved by the state.
And the same as Brian, I feel like the traffic issue is, I have trouble getting out of my driveway at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I walk that street every night, 6 or 7 o'clock, and you're taking your life in your hands walking Plain Street at night. There's a lot of
It
traffic
sounds like
there, around
it's an
6 or 7
existing
at night.
condition now. I mean, I
Yeah,
understand
even
that.
now.
We had reports done from our traffic engineer. They had a peer review done from that. There are some recommendations, we're willing to do. However, we don't have to go off-site to do betterments, but we are willing to do that. We can't fix everything that's wrong with this roadway now. We can only do what we can do.
I just wanted to
Right,
mention
the traffic, we understand, and, we don't want to see our residents, any traffic issues either.
Yeah.
We have enough parking spaces, as we stated before. We are gonna look at those, how we can help improve those areas. If the town wants to put up a four-way stop sign, intersection, okay, we can't do it, but we're willing to at least make some improvements and work with the town.
Thanks, Mr. Harris.
I just want to tell you my opinion. I think
No, appreciate it.
traffic's going to be a problem, but
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else want to?
I just want to say one thing.
Sure. Go ahead.
Another question about, it's more as a question about common area. Is like the condos that are right behind me, they have like a really nice common area in the middle where kids can play. There's a little walkway around it. Where do you expect the people who live to go outside, and where are their children going to play? Where are they going to meet
Okay.
each other, that kind of
Open
thing?
space, so, yeah, Mr. Harrison, could you just address the?
We don't have a designated play area. We're not, the combination right now are mostly ones and twos, don't lend itself to a lot of children. The 3 bedrooms will have more children than obviously the 1 and 2 bedrooms. We do have some open space, but we are not planning to put any structures like playground equipment.
No, I wasn't asking for a playground. I was just looking for like
Just
a
as-
walkway of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, we do have some open area within the plan that can play in. We don't expect them to play in like any of the basins or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, it's really, we don't see a lot of school-age children here or middle school children here. So we don't expect a lot of them to be out playing in the yards.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments? No? Okay.
You consider another entrance on Plain Street, have 2 entrances, one on Lake and one on Plain Street? Does that alleviate some of the traffic problems, the congestion on Lake Street at all?
Okay, I can, want to speak to that?
Both from an engineering standpoint and with our traffic engineers, did not see a need to have 2 entrances because we have more of a wider entrance. I'm not a traffic engineer. We can re-ask them to address it for next time, but from what we got now, they feel that's the best point for entrance and exiting the site.
Is that something that could be looked into?
I'll ask my
I mean,
traffic
as an
engineer.
option, I don't really know
No,
if
I
it's,
mean,
it
we're,
would be good
I
or
mean,
not.
you don't have a
I'm
lot
just
of
putting it out
distance.
there.
We don't want to add 2 entrances because the distance here to the intersections is not a long distance. You're better off having more distance to the intersection, which we've done, and we widen that to accommodate that. We think from an engineering standpoint, civil and from the traffic engineer, that one entrance is the best for this site. And once again, our traffic engineer report was reviewed by the town's peer reviewer, and unless she has something else to say, that's how we feel about
I'm
it.
just looking for alternative solutions.
Understood.
Anyone else? Okay, so. Do you guys have any questions? All right, so they still need to look at, they still gotta look at some of the peer review, right?
And they gotta get the waivers.
Right, you get a list of waivers. Kirsten, did they finish reviewing, did you finish her review of her traffic study?
We
Her
do,
comments,
yeah, the update we got today was more just, are we gonna do the recommendations in our traffic report? We will address that prior to next meeting.
Okay.
And we do have some open items for Merrill's peer engineer review.
Okay.
And we'll address those, either on drawings, and the other major item I have is the waiver list.
Right, okay. And I guess you can look into that possible second entrance with the traffic.
We'll talk to our traffic engineer,
Okay,
but right now,
It will go right through the open space.
right. Do you need anything else from the traffic?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a proposed.
Okay. And you're gonna get us updated landscape plan?
oh, it's in there.
Oh, just,
We're just gonna confirm that there's no conflict between the engineer's plans and the landscape plan.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and we're meeting with the fire chief, so we should have, hopefully by that time, a final recommendation by the fire chief.
Okay, okay. We're all set with the house, right, what they're doing, they're just making it one
Yeah,
unit?
they're putting in a new septic system.
Yeah, it's following up with,
Right. Okay,
And he's gonna get us, an email from HLC confirming the two things.
okay,
yeah,
okay. So I guess we'll need to do that work and continue this to,
Either a month or two, how much time do they need?
we want to do 30 days, I mean, we can get that to you quickly.
okay,
When's the next meeting?
February 24th or March 17th?
sorry, I just gotta look at my calendar.
February 24th?
I don't know if I can you do February 24th, or do you
I
gotta do
can.
March?
I can do February 24th.
Can you guys do February 24th?
February 24th.
Okay. Could you guys be here on the 24th if we need it? Okay. February 24th works for you guys?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're gonna continue this matter to February 24th. We'll be here again, Sue, right?
I'm gonna try, yes, I'm gonna
Okay.
try.
Okay, and again, all the materials, anything gets submitted, Sue puts it online, so you can access it there if you wanna look at anything. So, I'll make a motion to continue this hearing to February 24th, 7 PM at the Town Community Center.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. You just gotta do it.
You wanna go up to the microphone? Is that all right, or? All right, have a seat. Just grab a microphone.
I'd make it like 5 minutes in the car.
I have no idea. No idea.
Hey guys, if we can move outside, we still have a little bit of business to tend to. Thank you very much. I want to go home too. Huh? Oh, no, no sweat. I'm here to talk to you, not to listen. They had, their case is over. Continue. Yeah. I think he's the homeowner. He's the owner, the developer.
Right, so we got your application. I don't want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and.
Sure, I don't know how much you want to know. So I've lived in Pembroke for 27 years now, 28, coming up to 28 this year. Moved in on April the 1st, except I didn't. It was April the 2nd because it was the day of the huge snowstorm when I was meant to move in. So, we got delayed a day. I live in Lantern Lane with my wife and our daughter, who went through the Pembroke public school system and is now a junior at Stonehill.
Right.
I didn't wear the Stonehill pants. I semi-retired. I worked last 17 odd years of my full-time work life. I was at Fidelity, working in retail broker-dealer compliance, dealing with a lot of financial regulations and working with the Fidelity businesses on the retail brokerage side to try and help them navigate through the regulations so that they could build their products, develop their websites, all that sort of thing. Since I took Fidelity's buyout, I've been working part-time for a non-profit technology consortium, sort of half-time, basically, 20 hours a week, just working from home, supporting some of their programs.
Great. So you'll have time for this?
Plenty of time. I mean, I'm not planning on doing it for that much longer.
Okay.
I have, so as my second wife, I have a daughter who lives in the UK and a son who lives in Australia from my first marriage, and have one grandson in the UK. I'm planning to be my daughter and I are planning to go to the UK for about a month in the early summer to spend some time with our grandson. And I don't really want to be working remotely from the UK for a month, so I'm probably going to give up the part-time job at that point.
Yeah, we meet roughly once a month. It's usually Mondays. Every now and then it might be another day, typically around 7. Most of the meetings are not like this.
It's a lot quieter. I mean, sometimes it's a lot smaller and a lot louder, but generally they're smaller and easier. This is just more eyes.
Yeah, so it's generally people looking for, variances or special permits to do something with their house. Sometimes some businesses might come in. That's a 40B project, so that's a lot more involved. But.
So you get people who've, you got the special permits, and you got presumably people who've been denied by the initial planning board, perhaps, and want to appeal?
People can appeal so if they don't get a building permit, they can come to us. But generally, it's more people who need, their lot, they want to build an addition, and it's 18 feet off the lot line, and the setback's 20 feet. It's more those types of instances.
The variances.
Yes.
And that sort of thing. Do you get like state and federal people sitting in front of you appealing or anything?
No, I mean, this is state or federal, you know what I mean, like the whole 40B thing, but nothing really to that capacity. I mean, and then some of it's, people that want to operate a bakery in a mechanics only zone or something, so they need a special permit for that. Not that you need a special permit to run a bakery, but you know what I mean, like the use, light industry in a residential A or whatever, so people come to us looking for relief.
Right, but if the state wanted to build something in town, I mean, presumably, do they have to go through the same process as everyone else? And so they could end up in front of you?
Formalities.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very likely, but I mean, it could.
They probably railroad the planning board in the first place.
They probably wouldn't waste the time to come and sit. They just do what they want anyways.
Yeah, most of it's you know, relatively benign.
So do you have to recuse yourself at all from any?
You can, yeah.
So is there like a code of ethics or anything for the town? that you have
Code
to-
of ethics and this conflict of, actually, I just wrote down right here, Sabrina, conflict of interest training that I have to redo.
Thank you.
And it's boring, is what
Hey,
it
it's
is.
very important.
Right, but it's important, 1,000%. You know,
Most important things are.
Right, you know, and that comes into like, okay, so I'm a contractor, that's what I do for a living, right? So now, if I were to be, you know, I can't be on the board and sit on a case, like if I were to be the builder of this project like that gentleman sitting right there was, and then go ahead and sit in front of my own case, that's a conflict of interest. If, you know, if my sister was the developer, I wouldn't be able to do it. If my landlord was a developer, I wouldn't be able to do it. There's, you know, the small financial ties, there's a whole list of why you can and can't do certain things.
I assume including like abutters. If
Yep,
anyone's
there's a certified abutters list that, you know, if you're within a certain range, you just, thank you, but no thank you, you get to stay home.
Yeah. For example, my father-in-law was a developer in one of the cases last year. I had recused myself. Which one was Fraser? He was living was he living in the apartment or living in the house that?
No, I think he,
Oh, he's a tenant
rented
of, he's a tenant of, like in Corporate Park, and one of the landlords of Corporate Park. You know, now you're financially vested because I give you money for a service that you offer, so he had to recuse himself.
yeah, it doesn't come up much, but occasionally.
So are there any time constraints on the appeals, in as much as this appeal, for example, do we have to get it through the process by a certain time, or can these things just drag on and drag on?
There's a statute that governs it, 40A, and there are certain timelines from once an application's filed to when you got to render a decision. Then there's appeal periods after that. So it varies. A lot of times you're well within the time frame, or you just, like in this 40B, we'll get extensions just because everyone needs a little more time to do the peer reviews or what have you. So extensions happen all the time, but there is, if you look at chapter 48, you can see all those time constraints or limits.
And it's I mean, I think I've been on the board maybe 3, coming on 4 years maybe, and I think we've had to cancel like 3 meetings last minute because, you know, we couldn't get a quorum, you know what I mean? So occurrences happen, you know, like the COVID happens, a snowstorm happens, there's reasons we can't meet. So, okay, that pushes it off, you just, you know, you roll with it, you vote for an extension.
I mean, do you ever get to the situation where you've got too much business, and so you have to schedule additional meetings?
We meet once a month or so, and we usually don't have more than 4, you know, hearings. You know, Sue's pretty good about.
Well within capacity.
Yeah, you don't want to put things that are going to be.
It comes in
heavy,
waves.
you know.
Like if interest rates go back down, you know what I mean? Like more people will be building an addition and stuff like that. Like before the interest rates were going back up last time, there was a whole bunch of in-laws that came before us because people had refied, had the refi, wanted to get everything going, and it all ebbs and flows with the economy and what it looks like.
Right. Okay. So how much time do you find you spend outside of the meetings in any given month?
It depends. I don't know if I could track it, but you know, depending on the application, you might go take a ride by the house or the neighborhood or to
Yes,
get
I did drive past
Yeah, I mean,
Lake
just,
Street the other day.
Yeah, so you do that. You do a little homework, you know, on your own. You don't have to.
Yeah.
It's, you know, depending on the project, I usually will at least go out and check it out. Sometimes you do a site visit, depending on the project. So, but again, those are more the exceptions than the rule when you're doing a lot of that.
Usually the week before, by Friday at the latest, and that's if something happened. We'll have generally all the emails in front of us, everything we're gonna need for Monday. So you've got you got a week or at least an entire weekend to sit there. Like this, all this stuff I've had for 2 weeks. She emailed me 7 times, and then she's been authorized to call and dope slap if I don't respond to the email, just to make sure that I got the email. So there's usually ample time to do it. You're never going to be like, oh my God, I didn't have time to plan for the zoning board meeting. Like it's doable.
So it's your fault that
It's
I got the, Sue sent me an email that said, please confirm that you got
I'm
this.
having trouble with Yahoo. But no, that's great though. I'm just horrible at personal email.
So you're an alternate, right?
Clerk.
Oh, you're the clerk?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we have an additional alternate that's not here today.
Ryan.
Oh, right, okay.
And
So
Arthur,
I misread
technically.
the,
Arthur,
I misread the website.
I believe so.
So the alternates review everything. So we just the alternate will just behave as if they're on the board for every meeting in
No.
terms of reviewing the paperwork. Or
They can review it all they like, but they can't sit on the matter or talk about the matter. Like, so, like tonight, like if you know, Rick is sick or something happens to one of my kids and I can't make it to the next meeting, the meeting's pushed off a month. The alternate doesn't come in and sit in because we're part of the quorum. So if that member, if I can't go and I'm not attached to that meeting, that alternate could be very much a present part of the board for a couple of months if something were to be continued and continued and continued. And I'd be hanging out watching Scooby-Doo.
You can come to any meeting.
Oh yeah, you can come and whatever,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
can't, you're not a voting member.
You just can't vote.
can't vote, but can I ask questions in a meeting?
Well,
In
I
the
mean,
public?
you can still, you're attending the meeting as a.
What I should say is, am I restricted from asking questions in the meetings?
Nothing that's preventing you from asking questions, it's just you're not doing it in the capacity as a board member.
Right, it might be a better look to do it from that microphone over there to ask a question just for your own personal knowledge.
Yeah.
But you're more than welcome to sit in, and I'd recommend you come and sit in on one.
Yeah.
You can sit up here, we'll just identify as the alternate who's not voting.
Go on. I think most of my other questions have been asked as we've been going through.
The pay's great.
The pay's
Emotional pay.
So yeah, I don't think I have any more questions. Unless you have any questions for me?
No, I mean, I'm happy to have you come aboard. I don't know if you want to come to another meeting or you're comfortable having us.
No, I mean, I think it's, if I'm going to do this, then I think I should come to all the meetings anyway, whether or not I'm, sitting on that side of it.
I mean, it can be helpful in the sense if you did sit in through our meeting and then say Louis got sick, since you were at the meeting, you could then become the member if Louis missed a couple.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is that benefit. Same time, if you don't want to come here on a Monday.
Like I said, if I'm not in the country, then or whatever, then obviously I won't be able to come.
Yeah.
But,
What I do,
if I'm here, I'm perfectly happy to come every.
yeah, what we can do in the past with, we'll just, me or Lou or whoever will maybe just take a day off, and you could come in and sit on be the voting member on a meeting and walk, have the whole meeting yourself, go through it. I think it's a good experience.
You let me chair.
Yeah.
They let me chair.
Yeah. So, I mean, he has to decide if he wants to do it, and then what
If you do, we're going to add you to the select board's agenda for January 22nd. And you're certainly invited. You're welcome to join. You don't have to. And then the select board will view your application.
So Wednesday night, shouldn't.
Yep, 22nd.
Yeah, it's the select board who formally would appoint you and approve you.
Yep.
Do we even have
You
to
don't,
vote?
you don't have to go there, but if you'd like to. I went and they were just like, why are you here?
I didn't go to mine.
No, it was like when COVID, literally the first week COVID happened, and I walked in and nobody had to wear a mask because you guys all got paychecks, and I didn't get a paycheck. So they're like, you're not an employee, you have to leave, and we have to put masks on. It's like, okay, I'm out here.
That may have been a special case.
Yeah. So,
I'm happy to go to the.
Yeah, I mean, you feel free to. You
Yeah,
can.
you
I mean,
do whatever you like. I'm just saying, it's not like an obligation that you have to do.
And we'll send you an email as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor,
Yeah, agreed.
so. we
Yeah,
got-
I like that you have well experience in compliance because I worked with a lot of compliance officers at Morgan Stanley, and they tend to be the adults in the room, so they tend to make the hard decisions that no one else wants to do. So it's good to have that backbone.
Yeah, yeah, well, I mean, it was, you know, one of the mantras of our boss was to try and get the business, you know, try and not be a no.
Yeah,
to
try,
business,
yeah.
you know, and working with them to get to the right yes. So, I don't think you're familiar with that.
Well, I hope you join. I mean, you got my recommendation.
Yeah, no,
I think the board's unanimous that
I see.
we're in favor.
Great.
All in favor?
If he wants to do it.
All right, I'll be in touch.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay, great.
Excellent. That was great
Thank you
meeting
very
you.
much.
Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Nice meeting you.
So this, that concludes this meeting is adjourned.